Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Lynn Wagner and you are listening to The Wealthy Life. And this is part of the sleep series. So today we're going to talk about sleep rhythm and your circadian rhythm. It's kind of a out there topic, but it's really, really important. And the cool thing about this is these are things that you can easily do throughout your day that are going to greatly influence how well you sleep at night. So it's not another hour of exercise you have to add to your day or meal prepping or all these things that take time. You can just naturally do these things in your life to help you get better sleep at night. Your body thrives on rhythm. So when your sleep and your wake times are inconsistent or your evenings are chaotic, your biology gets confused and your hormones misfire. Your body doesn't know when to make cortisol, when to make melatonin. Your energy is going to dip, your mood's going to swing, your cravings are going to get stronger. When you honor that rhythm, when you know about it, everything changes and everything gets better with your body and your health and wellness. So here's how to create a circadian ritual from morning to night that supports deep and restorative sleep and will then give you better energy, which we all want. So in the morning, these are some important things that you can do, and you don't have to do all of them, but just try to sprinkle in as many as you can to make your day great. Wake naturally if possible. So when you're first waking up, if you can get up without an alarm, that is awesome. If you do need an alarm, which a lot of us do, try to get one that has a gentle sound. So on my phone personally, I use birds chirping. You can get cool alarm clocks that rise like the sun. Don't do something that's just going to jolt you out of bed because that's going to disrupt your rhythm. Avoid phone, news, and social media and emails for at least 30 minutes in the morning. And I have a really hard time doing that. It's almost like a forced thing I have to do every morning because the natural thing I want to do is just get to work right away. But if you give yourself that time to let your body wake up and your mind to come alive, it is a beautiful thing that will help honor your rhythm. Spend quiet time when you're doing that. And so instead of the phone or the TV or the news, do some meditation, do some praying. I love to journal. Often I find when I do that, I get all these great ideas that I would have blocked if I hadn't given myself that 30 minutes. I would have just powered right into the day and I would have missed those beautiful moments of inspiration. And then bonus habits you can do if you have time that will supercharge your rhythm or your circadian rhythm in the morning are watching the sunrise and getting outside for natural light. So having that UVB light hit your eyes is really, really powerful for your circadian rhythm, basically telling your body that it's morning, let's get your cortisol pumping, let's suppress your melatonin, which will then affect your sleep at night. Grounding or standing barefoot on the earth. So if you get outside and you're looking at UVB light, you may as well take your shoes off unless it's winter and get some of that natural grounding and earth energy. And then adding in a little walk will get your metabolism going and get your body ready for the day. Those are all things you can do in the morning. And as you can see, a lot of those things don't take time. And sometimes it's just avoiding the things that are habits. During the daytime, there's also things you can do. So one of the most important things is avoiding caffeine after a certain time. When I was a resident, I could drink caffeine up until the time I went to bed, and I often did, and fall asleep really, really well. So it gets harder as you get older, but it's really, really important to avoid things like stimulants and caffeine later in the day. So I personally have to cut it off at around 11. I love my coffee in the morning, but after a certain time in the morning, I have no more caffeine throughout the day, and if I do, it definitely affects my sleep. Getting a little bit of light exposure, similar to the morning, getting some in the middle of the day can also be really powerful. You basically want to think of it like, does my body, or do I as an animal know what time of day it is? And you're not going to know that unless you're getting cues from nature, and sunlight is the most powerful cue. So getting outside, letting that sunlight in your eyes really tells your body, okay, it's noon now, let's start preparing for the evening. So getting outside is really important. Moving your body throughout the day. I can never stress the importance of movement throughout the day, but that's going to help you get deeper sleep. So especially if you have a really good workout, it's going to just give you better quality sleep at night. And then managing your stress. So the fact is, we can't control the stress that's around us. You can obviously control it to a certain extent, but there's stress always going to be there. And so it's how do you react to that stress? And that's doing mindfulness practices, seeing a counselor, working on old traumas, but basically being in the face of stress, but your body not reacting to it is super, super important. And I've talked about that in other videos, but there's so many things you can do. And then in the evening, also super important things you can do. And these can be kind of fun. So when do you eat? I try to eat my dinner earlier because the later you eat, the more it's going to disrupt your sleep. Alcohol, we've talked about already, really, really powerful to avoid that late in the evening because that is also going to affect your sleep, your heart rate variability. It's going to make you groggy in the morning. So if you are going to have that glass of wine, try to have it earlier with an early dinner and then cut it off at a certain time. Light exposure is huge. So you want to get good UVB light during the day, but in the evening, if you're getting too much light, especially if it's that harsh blue light, your body's going to think it's noon. And so you want to do things like dim your household lights, use natural light if possible, like candlelight or fires, gaze into a fire. If you're going to be on a screen, I am on a screen every night. Invest in a pair of glasses. So there are these glasses that have red tinge to them, which will block that blue light, so your body's not getting disrupted by those harsh screens. True Dark is a company that I love, and Roca. I personally have the Roca glasses, and they work beautifully. But you can also change your devices. So your devices will have, the warm hue that you can do with your screen and display. There's night mode, so there's things you can actually do with your devices to protect you from that blue light as well. And then even things like in your bedroom, if your fire alarm has a little LED sensor, or if you have your phone charging in the room and there's a little light on the charger, you can put a tape over those, or you can remove the device from your room. You want to make everything as dark as possible to mimic like you're an animal in nature. I have this new bedroom that we sleep in now. We moved homes, and I call our bedroom a cave because it's pitch black, it's quiet, there's no devices in it, and I have had the most amazing sleep since we moved there, so that's really cool. And then you can do things at night that also are bonuses, like creating a calming ritual. So in the evening, you could spend some time similar to in the morning. You could do prayer, meditation, breath work, guided imagery. You could do journaling or a gratitude practice where you just list out everything that you're grateful for. Sounds super simple, but it's so powerful. You can do light reading. I have personally found that I can't read anything heavy, so I'm not going to read medical textbooks, or I'm not going to read journal articles. I'm going to read a light fiction book that is totally brainless because it kind of lets my brain wind down. Things like self-care, like baths, using your face mask for beauty, getting a massage from your partner, having a skincare ritual. Those are all things that are basically cueing your body that it's time to rest and relax and go to sleep. TV is a big one. So I have a lot of patients that have TVs in their bedroom. I'm not a huge fan of it. There's that bright light from the TV, and also it can be really stimulating. If you are someone who needs TV to go to sleep, you're going to want to choose something, again, that's brainless, like a Netflix series that's not going to engage your mind too much. You don't want to be watching news and political stuff. That will totally disrupt your sleep. And then try to stay off your phone and avoid doom scrolling. So another thing that people love to do is get on TikTok and just scroll, and that is actually just going to stimulate you more, and it's going to affect those different stages of sleep and the quality of your sleep. So the other thing I always think about is, if you don't want to overthink this whole thing, just treat yourself like you're a child at bedtime. So if you have children, or if you've babysat children, what do you do with them at night? You lower the lights, you don't stimulate them too much. You might read them a nice little story. You might cuddle them in bed. So those are the same things you're going to want to do to yourself to help yourself wind down for a good night of sleep. But the big picture overall is stick to consistent sleep-wake times, even on weekends if possible. Aim for more hours before midnight. I didn't talk about this yet, but the more hours you get before midnight, the better your sleep is going to be. Think about your circadian rhythm, and think about environmental cues that will support your circadian rhythm, like the sunlight that I talked about, like natural exercise, like grounding. Anything you can sprinkle in throughout the day is going to profoundly affect your sleep at night. And remember, what you do in the morning, noon, and night significantly shapes how your sleep quality is going to be. So start with 1 or 2 habits that we talked about, make them automatic. Add another. I would say for me, getting a great sleep schedule has taken years, and that's okay. Just do a little bit at a time and you'll get better sleep. With that being said, hope that helped, and we'll talk to you soon.